Hello everyone, it is I, Jules, here with his favourite son, Ewan. Not the only one, there's a few more in the test tubes. And we are back with yet another episode of the show formerly called Panel Pals. We're not sure why we can't call it that, but apparently we're not allowed to. So, let's look at what we've got today. I said last week that we would try and do an independent one, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do some pulls. That we've got some tasty pulls this week. Yep. We've got Luke Cage, new Thor, Batman Dark Metal tie-in, which is spectacularly fun.
Yes.
The new Batman for the DC Rebirth. Well, I don't even know what you call this one. It's just Batman
it's
now.
Still Rebirth.
Yeah.
But just Batman.
The first one after the War of Jokes and Riddles, so it's quite an important one. And then we've got the Green Arrow as he returns back to Star City. So, which one would you like to start with?
Should we do a DC and then go from left to right?
Yeah, why not? Let's start with old Ollie.
Green Arrow, yeah.
What an interesting story.
Yeah, I
thought this was very, very nice. So, where has he been?
This is set after the Dark Knight's event.
Right.
So, you see that reference in the book. It's he mentions how he's been away for a while and now he's back, and obviously he's all beardy, and Dinah does a bit of a shave and a bit of a nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Bit of a how's your father going on there.
And then so it's all about, it's setting up the upcoming storyline called I think it's a Tale of Two Cities,
which is interesting because it seems that his mother has been sort of working with
Moira.
a criminal Moira.
The Ninth Circle.
Yeah, and they are basically working to control Star City, make it into sort of like a corporate landscape. They're tearing down all of the nature, they're tearing down everything that makes it unique, and are basically trying to control it through financial means. That doesn't sound like a fun place to live, nor does their headquarters, Star Tower, look very aesthetically or architecturally sound.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't look safe.
It looks like something's going to fall off at any point, but no, I don't know. I don't make buildings. I don't even make shows, apparently, anymore.
I really enjoyed Ben Percy's writing in this because he's one of the things I've really liked about this Oliver Queen. Unlike some TV shows which don't seem to understand the character at all.
I'm going to put my hands up, mate.
Yeah.
I love how cheesy the Arrow is.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, but
he ain't a great superhero in that, is he? He makes so many mistakes.
He's just literally like Batman Light. And
no, he's not even that. He's dumb.
Well,
Exactly.
Yeah, dumb Batman Light. Whereas this, it's very much the Ollie that we know and love from the comics. One of the best lines that starts off the comic is he's there like, oh, I should be sticking it to the man, not saving him.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, nee. So, no, I really liked it. I really like it. Again, it's very much Percy's book that it's been the case for the past 33 issues or so. And yeah, it didn't really, it's not a massively strong opening, it didn't kind of do anything that was like, well, wow, this is going to really set the stage for Green Arrow coming forward. But again, it continues to be this lovely little character-driven book about Oliver Queen and Dinah. And
very personal, wasn't it?
Yeah, very personal.
I mean, it's setting up things quite nicely. I'm not too sure that they needed to reference how much they were having sex, though. And that's coming from me. I'm all about that, man. I live a very hedonistic life. I mean, that's how he came about. But the thing is, you've got to realise is that if you're constantly referring back to the fact that they haven't put any bloody clothes on in about a week, it's just kind of like, all right, lads, he's going to have a dick like a pepperami. So that was Green Arrow.
It's the one trick arrow you don't know about.
To be honest, it was a beautifully inked piece. I really, really enjoyed it actually. And it's this it's every page smut. I really, really enjoyed the way that this looked. Stylistically, it was very nice. And the shock twist at the end is that his mother has come back. And obviously, he's under the assumption that she's dead or gone missing.
It's
But we know she's been working with the baddies. So what's going on there?
It's completely blown your mind there, hasn't it?
It has, mate.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that because it seems like it's... the rest of these are quite serious, whereas this seems like it's got a bit of tongue-in-cheek to it, and that's going to be fun.
The very good thing is that Percy retains that sense of humour while still making it very political and very, I love it. I'm a big Green Arrow fan, and... since the character's not been done that well in recent years, it's really good. So
I think it's because people used to see him as the knockoff Batman. It would basically be he's just another rich playboy who is a slightly
And then when you
funnier.
see that perpetuated on the small screen, Arrow, then people are going to continue to think that. But
so that was good. I thought that was probably about a 4 out of 5, maybe a 3.5.
3.5, 4. I think that's fair.
But now we move on to the big bad bat and his lovely wife, the cat.
Yes.
They're going to the desert. I can't think of another rhyme.
No, they're going to the desert to... we talk spoilers on this show.
Oh, we talk spoilers all the time.
Spoilers. So it's Oh, I think this might be my favourite issue of the week.
Really?
Yeah, more so than Thor, which is a shocker considering how good Thor was.
We'll get to that.
But yeah, like everything about this issue of Batman totally had me grabbed, and I love how clever Tom King is. Like we basically had like a massive song and dance about him last week with Mr. Miracle, and the stuff he's doing with Batman at the moment is just as clever.
Yeah.
And one of the things you mentioned when the news broke that Catman?
Yeah, you might as well call him
Catman is a
now.
character, but Batman marrying Catwoman.
Yeah.
He was saying how he's going to address the controversy that's going to develop from this, and you see that in this issue is that King takes the entire few pages to look at the way the Bat fam are reacting to it all.
Yeah, there's a lovely still shot where they're like,
it's like
what?
He did what? And yeah, it's just really clever. You got Alfred making excuses for why angry Superman's not picking up his phone. And
do you know what they did really well without actually having to do much is actually establish the role of Catwoman quite quickly, because I know that there was quite a bit of discussion on the piece, which is, because they're getting married, does that mean that we'll see Catwoman take on a more sort of demure role, which has never been her facet, really. Having her take on the guard single-handedly and wiping the floor with him, I think says more than him being like, you're still the same Catwoman, even though, it was nice for her to be like, I've got this. Yeah. Daddy's going to pick up this check. You know what I'm saying?
I really, really like that. It's just the relationship. He gets it spot on. And I just love where they were going with that, and the fact that it is Talia that they're going to. We don't know why they're going to see Talia.
Again, more smart, because it was in a bloody sex palace, wasn't it?
God, it's very seedy week this week.
Man.
I know. But it's really clever. I think Batman, it's a really good jumping on point for new readers as well. If all you know about Tom King stuff is that, the ending of Jokes and Riddles. If you are only aware of the whole Catwoman Batman marriage, this is the issue that you want to pick up if you want to get into it and continue going forward.
The art style was much more to my liking than the ending of Jokes and Riddles.
Joelle Jones's art is absolutely, it's so expressive. Yeah. And it's not even just expressive, is that it's very, what I love most about it is that it gets that personal tone, and it's also very epic and very expansive. So you open up the first page and it's like, well, this is decidedly grim. And then it opens up to the next bit and it looks like this Lawrence of Arabia type thing, and then it goes back to being this little cozy place in Wayne Manor, and everyone's very expressive. Yeah. Doesn't miss a beat at all, and I really like it. She
actually chooses some quite hard to draw expressions, really, because of the fact that it's like, it could just be like, if we were panelized right now, it'd be like, but it wouldn't. But she has basically gone for things that are more sort of awkward and more human as a result. It was very, very good. What would you give that out of 5?
5. I'd give that 5.
Wow, a perfect comic
I really
book.
like. I think again, it's when we talk about comic books these days, we always talk about how inaccessible they are and how people always struggle to get into it. I feel like King's found the perfect balance here between carrying on from his very long thing that he's been doing with the character and how he's been building him up for the past few years, whilst at the same time affording room for new readers to get in and jump in.
I mean, I definitely, because I didn't follow the whole process of War of Jokes and Riddles, but this I feel like is a good thing for me to start picking up on. Really. So big fan of that. I would probably give it maybe a 4, because basically I still haven't yet to sink my teeth into the whole story arc, but very good. Speaking of seedy,
oh god,
let's submerge ourselves with the dark metal tie-in. Yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it? I'm pretty proud of that.
You could have mentioned Drowning next.
I was. So this is Batman the Drowning. So basically this is, as has been all of the other tie-ins to the Dark Knight Metal saga. What we've done is we basically explored all of the origin stories of the other Batmen and women who basically comprise up the Dark Knights, effectively. And they are supremely entertaining, because there's nothing better than finding a bad guy who you don't just hate, but you have conflicting feelings about, like, I can see where they're coming from, but they are awful.
And it's really interesting as well, because it's like a whole gender swap as well. So it's Bryce Wayne and Sylvester Kyle has been killed, and then you've got Aquawoman. It's really interesting, and talking about it, you kind of get a little bit more of the mythology this time around as well. Like Abnett talks about the light and how they've all been kind of left behind by the light, and how the normal Batman, who we'd think, he's had it pretty rough in his life,
but nothing compared to these
blokes. Like they've had literally everything just go to shit, and just
Although they did raise one point which I thought was possibly playing their hand a bit too much, possibly exposing the weakness of these guys, which is they make such a big deal of this thing called like the light above, and what they're really referring to is the fact that they exist in the negative universe, and the worlds that are on top of them in our multiverse are basically what they would consider to be better versions of what they have. But the problem is that the Batman who laughs, he says, you'll never be able to overcome the light if you stay down here. And that to me just says, well, you're going to lose then, because you're entering into a world where it's been light all the time. And yes, you'll probably have some victories, but that kind of is like a... You can't ever extinguish something because he talks about a hierarchy of there always having to be something above to stop you.
Yeah, and we see that as well, because when we actually see Aquaman and Mera fighting off this drowned person, Batman thing. And that was quite interesting, and I'm really curious to see how the impacts are felt, because again in Green Arrow they kind of just gloss over it. It's like, oh, you've been gone for a while, you helped save Gotham, whereas this is just like, well, everything is still pretty Lovecraftian and horrific. I mean, and nasty.
It was Earth Zero, wasn't it? It got destroyed this time. Every single time we've seen one of these Earths get completely obliterated, pretty much. So we're running out. So slowly but surely we are running.
I wonder what Earth we're on.
Earth JOOLS.
Right, okay.
Jules.
Yeah,
that's my name.
Don't wear it out.
I absolutely love this. I've loved every single tie, and I've loved every bit that we've read of this. I think that it's enthralling with its imagination. I just think the stories are really fun. They're brutally violent. It just ticks so many boxes for me. This is like as close as you can get to like pulp comic book telling without it being full of tits.
Yeah, well, again, I think it's really clever just how obviously it's very dark and it's very somber, and they don't take these events lightly by any sense, but it is kind of almost very puerile and silly, but in a good way. And I'm just enjoying, again, same as every week we've been doing this, I really enjoy seeing more of this world and how it's been fleshed out and how it lends itself to the main series overall, and how the fact you don't need to read these to get more from it. It
has made doing a generic comic branded weekly comic book channel review much more bearable. It really has. So speaking of that, let's give this a rating. I think that this for me is my comic book of the week. I loved it so much. I thought it was a really personal story, quite graphic imagery, a big fan. So I would say this gets my 4.5. 4.5.
I'd give it a 3.5. 4.
That's fine, understandable. I can understand that we're getting into kind of samey territory, as it were, but I really thought that was fun.
Cool.
Now, we're on to our big longie of the week.
We should get like air horns and stuff whenever there's a big
longie. Because that would require branding. So this is our big longie, which would win a big longie award, because that was something I was going to introduce, but we're not going to be doing that now. So basically, this is a love letter to Thor. It's issue number 700. Can you imagine doing anything other than masturbation and eating for 700 times?
No.
It's impossible.
No.
So the fact that this exists is a testament to humanity. And not only that, it's a brilliant collaboration full of about, how many different art styles are in this book?
Walt Simonson, who was one of the original Thor artists, he actually has something to draw, and oh my god, the amount of stuff that happens in this issue.
It's a very clever way of telling a story, because it's basically saying that the main story arc is that the Odin's son, the Thor that we most
the unworthy Thor,
he's now chilling out with the Mistress of Fate,
the Queen of the Norns.
Queen of the Norns, and she has basically told him that there is a massive army coming, led by Malekith. And Malekith wants to sever the strings of his own fate so that he will have control over life and death. That's the main thrust, but because of the fact that she is the Queen of Fate, she holds all of the other types of multiverse and alternate versions of Thor in her hand, and snipping them all at the end or near the end of this means that we're going to get so many different Thors from so many different universes teaming up.
There's so much in this book, and again, if you remember Marvel Legacy #1, this is the book that picks up where that left off, in the sense that so much happens. I want to address one thing.
Sure.
I don't know if you picked up on the same thing as well, but Galactus versus Ego might be the coolest fight I've ever seen in a comic book ever.
I never thought that there was going to be that. I thought that, that was always the question I had in the back of my mind, though. What would happen when one meets the other? Because you realise that he eats planets, he is a living planet.
They call him the planet that bites back.
And he literally did!
Oh my god, it's so cool. And I
loved it.
That and Thori the Murder Dog, who is a very good boy, we can confirm. He's a very good boy.
He murders well.
He does. He's a panel where he's all pooped out, having
like,
murdered too
no,
much.
no more murder.
I
love that. I feel like that should be my T-shirt slogan. No more murder today.
Yeah, and that was the other thing as well. So midway through the issue, there is a big splash page, which I'll show now. Some juicy deets in there.
Yeah, there's some people that we haven't met yet.
Loki's wearing the Infinity Gauntlet. Thor's all golden and blingy now.
Obviously, we've got the brand new Thor, who seems to be dead in her current
that's the other
cancer-ridden
thing as
form.
well. It's not looking good for Jane Foster right now. We don't think
Plus,
so.
you have to address the end page, which is specifically setting her up for a failure, because it mentioned her cancer, it mentioned that only the worthy, and on the page opposite it was talking about how he was unworthy. This has to be the story in which he reclaims Mjolnir, and she might die.
And that's the thing as well, is because I love I love Jane Foster Thor. She's been absolutely fantastic. And the really, really sad thing as well is I feel like the one iota of little hope that I have that this is all misdirection is that Avengers No Surrender comes out in January.
So you think
they're teasing like a big Avenger death in there, and the cover for that has Jane Foster on there and someone grabbing Mjolnir.
Okay.
They're setting that up. They're being very deliberate in that sense, but what happens if like the big death's just Throg, the Frog Thor? You know?
I would be gutted.
Oh, he was pretty cute.
Yeah, he was pretty cute.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he, like, in his way of getting a criminal to confess, he just created a personal rain cloud above their head that was constantly raining. And then he was like, it's like, it won't stop, I give up.
That is
I like that.
He's the best Thor.
Yeah, it was
very little property damage with that Thor.
A person who we didn't get to see, unfortunately, which I hope we'll be seeing soon, is Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah, no Beta Ray Bill.
He wasn't really in that.
No.
However, isn't his hammer the one that that causes War Thor to exist, or is that a different hammer?
I think that's a different hammer. I can't.
There's quite
remember.
a few of these special
Volstagg
hammers.
is War Thor, and he's there, and oh my,
the fight that's coming between him and Malgog.
Mangog.
Mangog. Which again, fantastic name.
And he's drawing the classic Kirby style. If you go with that in a bit, I don't know who draws that panel, but they draw him like Jack Kirby did.
And Mangog.
How
would you talk with that mouthful of teeth?
Yeah, no, you did it then.
Yeah, it did all right.
You should be auditioning for that part.
Dude, I would be Mangog.
Yeah, you would.
I put the Gog in Mangog. There's little else to say about this because there is too much to talk about. It's one of those things where it just gets a straight up recommendation. This for me is a 5 out of 5.
Yes.
I know I said that was my favourite, but I know quality when I read it.
Yeah.
That is a 5 out of 5. You should pick this up.
Definitely. I think it's absolutely incredible. And again, Jason Aaron demonstrating quite well why he is the best Thor writer ever. He's fantastic. I love him.
The Big Longy Award, if we had one. Right, anyway, on to Luke Cage.
Our hero of Harlem.
I thought that, I know I said that this was light-hearted, the Green Arrow one. This has got a great sense of self-awareness, and I like that. And I've always liked it when Luke Cage transcends beyond being a thing about race. I like the fact that they occasionally chuck it in a bit, like at the beginning of this, he's pulled over by a South American cop, and it seems like it's going to be a big deal about the fact that he's black and driving in sort of like New Orleans and stuff like that. But it's not. It's more about the fact that he's a superhero.
The thing that I enjoy about that, it's the thing that's really interesting to me is that David F. Walker's a fantastic writer, and again the ringmaster and all that, and how he's
kind
going
of like
back to Harlem and going back to the prison, Seagate, I think it is. I really, really enjoyed that, and it's a very, out of all the issues on here, it's probably the shortest one. But again, I really enjoyed reading this because Luke Cage is a fantastic character, and I just love how done he is with everything.
Yeah.
Like he's literally there just. Oh my god! I really, really enjoy it, and the art style's really colourful.
See, I wasn't a huge fan of the art style because it's a bit too minimalist for me. But I think that it works in type of the story it's trying to tell. It's trying to tell a basic story gone wrong.
Yeah.
But I think that. Where do you see this going with the Ringmaster? Because I thought that obviously his hypnotic powers, he's going to convince him that he's trapped in jail forever,
again,
maybe.
Yeah, that would be really interesting because
he's in mind jail.
Yeah, the way that the way this is all set up is that this is a really like trippy panel.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, and him being back in prison, I don't know what that means to the character as a whole, but as someone who's not read much Luke Cage, I really enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it's creepy white again.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes, and if you were a fan of Luke Cage, the TV show, or The Defenders,
the personality is pretty much bang on to
it's
that.
fantastic. I'd definitely check it out.
I mean, I give that maybe 3.5 again.
Yeah, 4, solid 4 from me.
Basically, as per usual on this non-branded comic show,
We have hella good taste, is what we're saying.
yeah, this is the thing.
Yeah.
Like, we choose well.
Yeah.
We choose well with this. There's no bad choice here. However, DC again is just kind of like hitting some consistent high notes. Marvel, that does blow it out of the water. I think that was a really important win for them. They needed that. So again, there's no bad recommendations here. But let us know if you picked up any of these, because it'd be nice to hear from you. It'd be nice to hear from you. Also, just for the record, put in a yes or put in a no whether we should keep the name Panel Pals, because we've had a discussion at work and we're not sure if we're allowed to use that name anymore, which is a bit of a pain. But let us know in the comment section.
Still my pal.
You're still my son, so I have to be your friend.
Oh.
That's good parenting. That's tough love right there.
You know what, the reason I bought this shirt today is because I was reliving a traumatic childhood moment, so I hope you're happy.
You can't have a childhood moment if I artificially implanted them. And that is where we're going to leave it on this week's cliffhanger. So as always, I've been Jules. He's been my artificial
Why do you hate me?
He's been my test tube son, Ewan. And we'll see you soon. Goodbye.